In this video we're going to look at the startup procedures for our CA18 with an O200E in it, the E being for the electronic EFIS controlled engine. So we've hopped into the aircraft and we've checked that the brake is on and the pressure's pumped up. We've selected the right tank, our trim is set, our throttle is closed, and we've come over here and we've looked at this our dials here, remembering that these dials won't show anything of any value until the power's turned on anyway. But what you are more importantly looking at is the oxygen sensor right there is in the down off position. Yeah, and mixture AFR, which is air fuel ratio, the line is set to 0. Okay, scan across our computer reader here and everything else. So then we come to this side. So first order is master power on, and that will drive the altimeter and our bus. Quick check, we've got enough power in the battery system. These are all sitting where they should be sitting now. They've got power coming to them. Coming back over to this side, so we're going to turn on the beacon light to let everyone know that we're going to start up. I've got my heels on the brakes just in case the brakes release. Okay, ECU is turned on and a fuel pump is turned on, either A or B. And you can see all the lights are on, the green for the fuel pump and the other two reds which will go out once the engine starts. Can be a little tricky, but I'll see if I can start it with one hand while holding and videoing. So area clear, and just advance the throttle a little bit until we get up to about 1,000. Come over to the LCD here, display here, push gauge once, and that will display gauge readings there. You have manifold pressure, engine temperature, RPM and air temperature. And if I go to gauge 2, that just tells us about the knob. It's at 7%, -7. Ignition is at 10 degrees there. I go to gauge 3. It's telling us about the battery state, throttle position. Now the O2 is not turned on, so we're going to come over here and click on our little switch. And then what will happen is that this will start reading, I get the shade in there, the O2, which is your air fuel ratio. Okay. Obviously checking here to make sure that you had oil pressure, which we knew we had when we looked before. And if we look up here on the dial, we got the oxygen sensor come on board. So gauge 4 is basically what I use for my tuning and everything else. It gives me manifold pressure, RPM, ignition, and the O2. If we bring back the RPM a little bit, you'll see manifold pressure changes. So does O2. On a hot day, see that's running at 18.3. We come over here and then put this on to a bit of an enrichment. We'll come back and that will start to change if we increase the throttle a little bit more. As we can see, that started to change as it gets richer. To shut down the engine is basically in reverse. Obviously we check our dials and gauges that they are all reading nicely and there's no state that we need to call US. Okay, put this, make sure this has been returned, AFR has been returned back to 0. Okay, 1000 RPM. Alright, we're going to reduce the throttle right back to idle. And we can lean it off a little bit more, which will help me reduce the idling even more. And we shut down the fuel pump, which will shut it off. Now, if it won't shut off cleanly when you've turned the fuel pump off, come over here and at the same time retard this all the way to shut off. Okay. All right, so that's shut down the engine. Now we work from the bottom and work our way back the other way. So that one stays down, this one stays up. Beacon light off, landing light off, iPad off, avionics off, fuel pump B or Bravo off, fuel pump alpha's off because we use that to shut down the engine. We now turn off the computer, coming on around, and we turn off the master. And that's how we start up and shut down our E-Series 0200s.